Welcome back to Connecting the Dots. Now we're familiar with the Trimble Connect user interface, we can start getting our hands dirty, and there's no better place to start than looking at the ways we can create and set up projects in Trimble Connect. Right off the bat, there are a couple of locations a project can be started from, so we'll be focusing on the main ones here, being Trimble Connect itself, Trimble Access, and also TBC. As not all processes will be relevant to everyone, we'll cut this video down into mini episodes for each method and we'll share them in the links below. And with that, let's get into it. What is the reason for there being different locations, you might ask? It all comes down to flexibility. Sometimes you might need to start a project from scratch in the field using Trimble Access and then, when finished, want to share the data back to the office. Then there are those times that you may be working on a new project in Trimble Business Center in the office and want to send the data out to the field or save it remotely to the cloud. Finally, there are those times where it is just as easy to start a project directly in the web browser and populate it as needed. In each of these cases and more, Trimble Connect has you covered to be flexible on how you work with your project, no matter where you start. So let's walk through each option, some of the project settings to be aware of, why there are different ways of creating projects, and how you know which one fits your workflow. Starting off, let's look at the traditional and what some people would say is the proper approach, creating a project directly in Trimble Connect via the web browser. This is perfect if you're planning ahead, organizing folders or setting up your team before anyone heads out on site or starts working on the project. It's also perfect for projects where there is initially data coming from a lot of different external sources. To start with, you need to go to Trimble Connect in your web browser via web.connect.trimble.com. Then log in with your Trimble ID. Now at this point, we just need to have a quick word about licensing. If you don't have a license, you can still give it a go by signing up to a free account, which allows you to create one project, access up to 10 gigabytes of storage, and invite up to 5 collaborators, enabling you to test features. After that, there are different plans for different types of usage. For the most part, if you have a Trimble subscription license, you should have a Trimble Connect business license attached to it. This license provides full collaboration features, unlimited projects, and improved data synchronization compared to the personal license. Trimble Connect licenses can also be purchased independently, offering a range of options depending on your usage and needs. We will go into licensing in more detail in another episode though. This is just to cover the basics of what to expect. Now let's get back to it. To create a project, the steps are pretty simple. First off, you hit New. Then you give your project a name. This is the overarching name for the project and will not affect file names or the files within a project. Then you give it a thumbnail if you want it to be easily identifiable in the project list. Next, choose the project server location for your data storage. This selects the local server by default and is where your data is being stored. Unless you are working in multiple regions around the world, this will always be the same and set to your local region. Here, you can also select the project ownership. Unless you have multiple Trimble Connect accounts in your organization, this will always be the same. Tricept allocations are also assigned to this category, so this may be a consideration in what is selected. It's okay though, we'll cover that in more detail in another video. There's also the ability to select a project license here. This too will be left consistent unless you have different project licenses for different reasons. Finally, more options is not essential. It's just there if you want to add more metadata to your project folder. In here, you can add a description, set a start date, and also set an end date. Once you've done all of this, you can then click Submit to create your new project. And that's it. Trimble Connect will automatically open the empty project, ready to be populated with your data. With that covered, let's jump out in the field and see how it's done from Access. More often than not, a field crew goes out onto site and starts working on a new job. In this case, we don't necessarily have an existing project in Trimble Connect to share the data back to the office, so a new one needs to be created in the field with Trimble Access. This can be done in a couple of ways. First off, let's look at how this is managed when creating a new project. To start with, you need to sign into Trimble Connect in the controller. Next, you need to create a new project. In the Create Project menu, it's important to make sure that the Create Cloud Project tick box is selected at the bottom of this menu. When you click Create, the Create Project window opens. In here, the name is automatically given from the Access project. There are also the options to allow for the selection of the server and the project ownership. Once you click Yes, this project is then created in Trimble Connect. Now this is ready for the field data to be collected. Once field work is finished, the project needs to be changed to field work complete. Access then automatically syncs that data to Connect and places it in the field data module. If you aren't signed into Trimble Connect at the time of creation, you can still create a project and upload that data to Connect from Access at a later time. First and foremost though, you will need to be signed into Trimble Connect to do this process. Then, in the Projects menu of Trimble Access, click on the three dots to the right of the job name and select Settings. At the bottom of this menu, you then need to select Upload. Here, the name of the created project in Connect will be taken from the project name in Access. You also have some more options here if needed, like the ability to select the server and the project ownership. Finally, at the bottom of this menu, you'll be able to see what license this project is being created against. Check they are all okay and select Yes to upload the project. In the Projects menu, the icon to the right of the job name next to the three dots shows if the project has been uploaded or not. As a side note here, when deleting projects off the controller, if you're logged into Trimble Connect, there is the option to delete it from just the controller or the controller and the cloud. Another consideration too is that the field data module needs to be turned on in the Trimble Connect project to view the data, which we will cover later in this episode. So this workflow has you covered if you're starting a new job in the field and sending it to the office without needing someone to set up the project or hand over the data manually later. Once created too, people can be added to the project in Trimble Connect so they get notifications that the data is ready to be downloaded and worked on. Finally, there's the office-driven approach, where you create a project inside TBC. This is ideal when TBC is being used to prepare the data for the first time and it's needed to go to the cloud for access by other users or sending it to the field so it can be used in Access. This is also where TBC can save and store entire projects remotely instead of having them sitting on your local machine, drives, or taking up space in other cloud storage solutions. In this workflow, you simply need to open or start a new project in TBC. Then, in the top right corner of TBC, sign into Trimble Connect. Once you've done this, you choose Connected Workspace in the Home tab, which gives you the option to add new. Then you need to name it, select the region, and confirm the setup. Simple as that. This creates your brand new Trimble Connect project. Once created, the Connected Workspace window opens your blank project. To then save the TBC project into here, you select the drop-down arrow next to the Add New button, which brings up the existing project button, and that allows you to save the project remotely into Trimble Connect. Once uploaded, the saved projects will show in the Workspace category where you can open projects as well as check in and out projects from the cloud. Just a note on this function, this process stores the entire project in Trimble Connect. However, this data is only able to be seen and viewed in TBC. The stored files using this process will not be able to be viewed in Trimble Connect even if they are a supported format. To save files from TBC to the Trimble Connect Explorer to be able to view them in Trimble Connect, you need to use the Remote Save function, which is in both the Home tab, where you can store the entire project, and also the Exporter tab, which allows you to simply save exported files directly into Trimble Connect. When it comes to sending data to the field, you can use the Send to Sync tool in the Home tab, which allows you to upload selected data, which can be stored as job files in the Field Data module in Trimble Connect, that can then be pulled down by Trimble Access in the field. This keeps everything clean and controlled before it ever reaches the field. Now you have a clean project, let's look at the project settings. The thing to remember here is that to change these settings, you need to log into Trimble Connect in the web portal, open the project and change them there. Don't worry, these settings aren't needed for uploading and downloading data. They don't impact any raw data that is already stored there. These are only there to manage how Trimble Connect handles and visualizes the data. So if you start in Trimble Access, the data will still be uploaded to Trimble Connect. Same with uploading point clouds to Triceps. You just won't be able to see the data there until the extensions are turned on in these settings. To find them, open up your new project in a web browser and select the settings at the bottom of the menu on the left in the Explorer view. This brings up an extended set of settings categories. In the project details, you'll see most of the info you added when you created the project. You can also set a default coordinate system, draw a project boundary, and check the simple stats like how many users are in the project and how much storage you've used. If you need to link to the project to something like Vision Link for sending data to machines, this is where you can do it too. If you ever need to leave or delete a project, then you'll find that option here too. Just remember that when you want to delete a project, it cannot be undone. Next up is the permissions overview. You'll usually add users through the Teams section of the Explorer, but this gives you a clearer picture of who can see what across the folder structure. It's also where you can fine-tune access and permissions for different user groups as needed. Then there's extensions. This is where you can turn on extra modules that aren't enabled by default, like field data and reality capture. As mentioned, if you already have data in the project that belongs to these modules that you can't see, once you switch them on, it will be viewable in Trimble Connect. And that covers the main settings that you'll find here. Have a browse through the rest if you're curious, but the default options are generally exactly what you need. If you want to know more about the other settings, feel free to reach out and we can look to create a more detailed video on them later. So, which method should you use? It really depends on how your team works. Start in Trimble Connect Web when you want to start with structure, permissions, and a clean setup from the beginning. Start in Trimble Access when the project begins on site and the field needs to get moving. Start in TBC when the office is preparing data and pushing it out to the field. The good news is, no matter where you start, everything ends up in the same Trimble Connect environment, synced, organised and accessible to your whole team. There certainly are other ways in other packages to start a project. Overall though, the same core settings will be available to the project creation outside of Trimble Connect Web, where you can select the name, Connect server, project owner and license to get you up and running. The rest can be set up when you're ready in Trimble Connect Web. And that's your quick guide for creating projects in Trimble Connect. Whether you're in the field, in the office or working online, Trimble Connect has you covered. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time when we're going to take a look at how data is stored and managed within Trimble Connect.